What is up, guys? It's Twin Soul Poets.
Poets.
We are your go-to couple for love and relationship advice.
Dope spoken word poetry.
And
uplifting content.
Yeah. We've been getting a lot of questions about false twin flames lately. People who are concerned about, is the person I'm talking to a false twin flame or are they my real twin flame? One, we're always very hesitant to answer that question for anybody. That's kind of something you need to answer for yourself. To learn more about false twin flames, we're watching a video about them today and we're going to react live for you.
Before we jump into the video, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you all this yummy twin flame information for your soul.
Today's video comes from Twin Flames 1111. It's called False Twin Flame, Key Signs of the False Twin Flame Connection. We're going to post the link for you below if you want to check it out. And let's go ahead and react.
This should be interesting.
Key signs of a false twin flame. How to know if it's really your true mirror soul or just a false twin. Key warning signs. And the secret reason is actually a great thing if you've met your false twin.
Plot twist.
False twin flame sign number 1. Something feels off. Yes, synchronicities, numbers, symbols might seem to indicate that this person is your twin flame. You might even be seeing 1111 all over the place, but something just feels off. Your intuition, your feelings, they're your soul's way of speaking to you. So when something feels off, think twice. With the true twin connection, it's all about feeling resonance. So when something feels off, it's a key indication that you're not dealing with your true mirror soul at all.
So I completely agree with that first one. We actually just got a question recently, like DM'd to us, and they had mentioned that something just always felt off, and they were asking, you know, could this person be my twin? And, you know, it's worth saying that we will never, ever advise someone on as to whether someone is their twin flame. We do not feel that like that is our right to do, and that's something that only the person themselves and the other person can determine for themselves. And it's very personal, very spiritual, very deep experience and question that you have to answer from within. But that was my thought, was that, you know, if something feels off, and what I told them, if something feels off, it usually is. So it's a good indication. Now, it's never to say that within a twin flame relationship things might feel off if you have one of them running or being dishonest or doing things that happen within any kind of relationship. So it's not that you might have moments of things feeling off, but if just there's this underlying feeling, it's definitely a good indicator.
Yeah, I mean, trust your heart. You know, that's some of the best advice. Your heart and intuition are always gonna sort of steer you in the right direction. And you know, so yeah, synchronicities and things can happen, but you should always be trusting your heart more than any other external sign.
Yeah, that's the best way to know.
False twin flame sign number 2. There's no chemistry. Mentally, it seems like a fit maybe. But emotionally and energetically, there's no chemistry. This is another telltale sign of a false twin flame. True twin flames ignite each other and pull each other in. With a true twin flame connection, it feels like your heart is glowing like a sun. So when there's no real chemistry, it's a telltale sign of a false twin connection.
I think that's interesting that she talked about like the energetic chemistry, because I think that that's the first thing a lot of twin flames actually experience when they meet, is this pull. Like, it feels, at least for me, it felt like beyond my physical. Like, it felt like this pull of familiarity and knowing immediately. Like, before I even really knew you, you know. It was an energetic chemistry. It's a really good way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean, the chemist, they said that it should feel like you're igniting each other. It doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of time to figure out whether that's there or not. You know, you should pretty much be able to feel that.
That said, I think sometimes what gets ignited can be your shadow self or your emotions or your fears. I think because part of what twin flame chemistry and dynamic is encouraging you to face all of the parts of yourself you may have not wanted to see. So I think like when twin flames are romanticized to the point where like there's never going to be conflict, there's never going to be challenge, there's never going to be anything dark or you know, tough, it does a disservice for the people who are trying to go into a twin flame union and twin flame exploration, because it's multifaceted. And when you can face those things and face the things that are ignited that are a little scary, that's when it's actually the most rewarding, I think.
That's a really good point, and it kind of brings up the question of like, is there such thing as a false twin flame? You know, like, just because it doesn't work out and you're happily ever after doesn't necessarily mean that they were like a false twin flame. You know, sometimes this person is in their life to present a bunch of inner challenges to you and make you go through some really tough stuff that you wouldn't have gone through otherwise. And you know, my guess is that's what she's going to talk about at the end of like, sometimes that's the best thing for you to meet a false twin flame. But I guess my thought just sitting here now is like, who's to say that was a false twin flame? It might have been their twin flame.
Could be.
And they
I
just
think
weren't meant to be, you know, together for this lifetime or something. You know?
That's true. I think that the point, though, that most people talk about, there is supposed to be only one person who is your twin flame. So, like, you know, if you meet them and it doesn't work out, if you meet your actual twin flame doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that they were false. It just means that, like, you don't have to be with your twin flame just because you meet them. And we talked about that.
And it doesn't mean that you can't find love ever in your life and that you can't be happy with another partner.
False twin flame sign number 3. You're not attracted to each other. And I don't mean this just sexually or romantically. What I mean is, twin flame systems always seek to get closer. When you meet for the first time in life, your souls will be in elation. If there's energetic repulsion or negativity from the start with a person, if it doesn't feel like you want to be close to them and they want to be close to you, it's a sign that something is up. This is likely not your twin flame.
I think, like, there's an absolute thing where there's like a desire for closeness in twin flame relationships. Like, we're together all the time. Like, and it seems like a natural way for us to our togetherness. Like, when we are apart for even short periods of time, it doesn't necessarily feel right to me. I think that there's also a difference, though, because she mentioned the souls, like, between always having crazy chemistry, like she said, not just sexually, and like the difference between like the personality and ego and the soul. Like, your souls can always be deeply connected and loving, but your personalities might not, and you might go through challenges and you might go through hard stuff. So again, like, I agree with her, but I also think it's important to make that distinction, because I don't want people to think that like you're never going to have growth opportunities through challenge, or feel like, I don't want to be around this person or anything like that. I think that's just like, your souls are always connected. That's kind of the idea of twin flames, is that you're this piece of the same soul. So the truth is, you never can be separate, but it doesn't mean that you can't have egos come up and personalities create tension.
So maybe just take some of these things with a grain of salt. You know, my first instinct is maybe it could be easy for someone to like sort of take an easy out when conflicts do arise and just sort of demonize their partner and say, oh, you're a false twin flame, you know, and just end it because you're running up against some hard things, and it's easier to blame it on the other person being some kind of like imposter than actually moving through the work and the inner work.
And that's where like the gold is, you know, when you're willing to face those things anyway. That's when you get to all the stuff that I think twin flame, the most powerful parts of being with your twin flame are.
It ain't all easy, man. I'll say that.
False twin flame sign number 4. You're trying to figure it out, not experiencing it. The twin flame connection is often described as a roller coaster, for good reason. When twins meet, the soul kicks into play, and our mental faculties tend to be pushed into the background. Emotion and energy take over. The two twin flames come together like nothing else matters. If you recently met your true twin flame, your soul will be running the show more than ever before in your life. So if you're there in your mind, trying to figure things out at this stage, it's a key sign that you haven't experienced the chakra activation and the kundalini rising that happens when true twin flames meet. That means it's an indication that this isn't your real twin.
There's a lot to unpack there. I completely agree on the like, you're trying to figure it out, not experience it, because like for me, our whole relationship seems to have happened of its own accord. Like, I feel like I've been along for the ride, and that like it's just been unfolding, and almost I've been watching it happen. I don't feel like I've had to make a lot of it happen.
But we've had to figure some stuff out at different stages. There were times where we had to figure things out.
Absolutely. But for me, all along, I've felt like there's some greater maybe part of us felt like it's orchestrating everything. Like when we went through those hard times and I got quiet about it, like in my heart, there was a peace. It didn't feel like I had to figure it out. I feel like my heart already knew, and just like my personality, my ego was catching up. But if I think about the way it felt for me, I feel like I always knew, and I feel like it was always feeling I wasn't having to figure it out. The only thing that I had to figure out was how to get beyond my fears, really, and my ego. Yeah. And when I did that, it did feel like it was just happening, and I wasn't trying to make it happen. The part about the Kundalini is interesting because we've just been practicing some Kundalini yoga. I did not get some kind of like spontaneous Kundalini awakening when we met. We've had a lot of powerful like spiritual, emotional, sexual experiences for sure. But did I get an instant Kundalini awakening? Mm-hmm. No. We're going on that journey now together, which is interesting, and it may happen at another point. But I wouldn't say that like if you haven't had an instantaneous Kundalini awakening that they're not your twin flame. I think that's a little extreme.
Yeah, seems a little extreme to me too.
I wouldn't use that as a measurement of whether or not you've met your twin flame, personally.
Yeah. It seems like bottom line is like the twin flame connection forces you to confront a lot of your inner demons or your inner blocks and obstacles. It's not like, oh, we're just blissed out all the time. It's like there's a lot of times where you are going on this up and down thing, and one or the other person may be on the down spike or up spike, and you kind of ride it out together, but it does push you into that sort of wild ride that feels a bit out of your control.
Which, interestingly enough, sounds a lot like the Kundalini awakening. I just heard a guru talking about it the other day, and it's not just this bliss only. It's the bliss and the darkness and feeling like you don't know who you are and feeling this. So he was saying, like, this is something that you step into with a lot of consciousness.
Yeah, the guru that she's talking about, forget his name, he was saying Kundalini yoga is dangerous for that reason because it has a tendency to really shake up your life and kind of like, you know, what he was saying, like wreck your life, and that a lot of things will fall apart, and what's really happening is the false things and the illusions and all the things that are in the way of you being the real you are going to fall apart. But like some people aren't ready for that. Some people aren't ready to like totally change their careers or change their social circles, and you know, it's like and maybe we should put that kind of disclaimer on twin flame relationships, because it will kind of do the same thing. It's going to shake you up. It's gonna force you to look at some things you might not really wanted to look at.
And the second part of what he said, though, is it's dangerous, the most dangerous because it's the most potent.
Yeah.
And I'd say that for twin flames once again. Like, you could see it as a dangerous thing, quote unquote. And he wasn't saying don't awaken your Kundalini, but he's saying do it with a lot of consciousness and do it with a lot of education and love and awareness, because you're diving into something really deep.
Yeah. I think the important thing with either one is self-care, because, you know, if you don't have a grounded, well-established self-care routine and group of support around you, like friends, family, you know, therapists that are there guru to sort of support you and catch you when you slip or fall down a little bit. You know, those things are going to be important. Those systems are going to be important while you go on this roller coaster ride, because it is intense.
False twin flame sign number 5. There's no feeling of home. With true twin flames, this is one of the number one things I hear. What made them realize and know on some deep level that they'd met their true mirror soul. The feeling of being home with them, that you belong together, in some way you might not even be able to put into words, that they are ultimately your home and you are theirs.
I think that's a good one. You know, that's definitely something that's always brought us back and got us through a lot of those hard challenges, is this kind of feeling of ease and just sort of being at home.
It's like the touchstone that we could always come back to. That at the end of the day, there's that familiarity and that comfort and that safe space.
And for me, in our like separation stage, when we did sort of break away a little bit, it was hard for me to sort of look at the rest of my life and not see her in the picture, kind of thing. Like, it was just very hard for me to imagine that, even when I tried, like really trying to create scenarios of like, okay, well, what does this look like without her? And it was just hard for me to even see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird to imagine like life without you in it. And sometimes for me, even hard to remember life before you. I feel like I almost insert your energy into my life even when you weren't there, which on some level might be true. It's kind of deep, but it's hard for me to separate out your energy from even my memories before I knew you.
I feel like I was a very different person. You know, you're always you at your core, but I've just grown and changed so much since being with you, and really in positive ways. I think which maturity and grounding and just kind of learning about myself, that I don't think I would have figured some of those things out if it weren't for our relationship. Yeah.
So those are my 5 false twin flame signs. I hope you found them
Okay, that's
useful.
all 5 signs
And if
there.
you're feeling disheartened and still a bit unsure
They have a
after this video,
website
wondering where to go
here
next,
in the video where you
make
can
sure
go
you
get
head over
more
to my
information
website,
about this topic.
twinflames1111.com/blog. I take the quiz there. How do I know if it's really my twin flame?
And Twin Flames 1111 has a lot of
Did
cool
you know that
videos
meeting
about
a false twin is
just
actually
the
a strong
general
indication
subject of twin
that
flames.
you're-
So now she's
Many
getting
twins
into
set
this
themselves up to encounter
why it
something
might be a
false
positive
twin
thing.
to get the chance to work through issues and learn lessons before meeting their true counterpart.
That goes with
So
any
that their
relationship,
journey
though.
together will run
Anybody can be
smoother.
teaching you the
Agreed.
lessons
The
that you
very
need.
fact that the twin flame connection has been brought to your attention is a key sign that your guidance and your soul wants you to be alert to it. Even if you haven't met your true counterpart yet, this is a part of your journey. In my guided meditations at my website, you'll be taken through meeting your true twin flame on the soul planes, even if you've never met before.
And we do guided meditations and lots of active exercises in our private coaching as well. If you look at twinsoulpoets.com, you can book sessions with us. We have the link below. And you know, we do a lot of exercises, hands-on work, personalized work with our clients to get you into that space of being ready to attract and sort of prepare for this intense connection.
She has a very pleasant voice, very meditative. I bet her meditations sound nice.
So that's pretty much the video there. Yeah. Overall thoughts?
You know, at the end of the day, all of these things are labels anyway for experience. They're labels to understand our experience. I personally think that the concept of twin flames makes sense because if you think about, you know, even if you think of a Big Bang and everything kind of splitting apart, you know, and everything having its counterpart, everything existing with its opposite, everything, it feels right to me. And so using the term or label twin flame feels right, and it feels like what our connection is. But I would say don't get so caught up in labels that you don't open yourself up to other experiences and opportunities for love. You know, you can have beautiful relationships with the soulmate or someone you just call a lover or whatever label it is. It really is about the connection that you have with them. And so that's what I would send you off with at the end of the day. Like, make it about the feeling you want to have in love, the emotional connection, the spiritual, sexual, all of that. Make it more about that than the label itself. It's really about how you show up in the relationship and how you treat each other. So I would make that the focus and let everything else fall into place and reveal itself.
Expectations tend to become obstacles really quickly. Labeling kind of does that. It kind of creates expectations and creates a box that you're trying to fit something into. And, you know, I do think twin flame relationships and any relationships will sort of like challenge any kind of boxes and expectations you have. So the more you can practice this opening, this sort of surrendering to what is, I think the more juice you're going to get out of any relationship you have.
What would you like to hear us talk about next? Let us know in the comments below, and we just might make a video off of your request.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel once again for more awesome Twin Flames content. Make sure you book a private love coaching session with us below at our website, twinsoulpoets.com, if you want to prepare yourself for this soul-stirring, juicy, amazingly intense twin flame connection, or any love connection, or even if you're already in a relationship, we can help.
Get that good love in your life, guys. We'll see you next time.